guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lourdes and I'm 22 years old, kind of just vlogging and documenting my life and sharing all of my hobbies. So today's video is gonna be more chill, read with me type of vlog. I did vlog a few little tiny things that I did here and there, but it's mostly just me reading and sharing my book reviews of the books that I'm reading. I hope you enjoy, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Hi guys, so it's almost midnight and TXT's new digital single, Love Language, is about to come out, and I thought it would be fun to record my reaction to it for the first time. It's 11:57, so let me get set up to watch the premiere. Okay, honestly, I'm not going for setup of the century because the premiere already started. I am ready. I have my BAM gut with me. I'm scared, honestly, of what this could hold. Okay. Okay, vocals. Oh my god, thank you. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Soup and wrapping. Okay, so obviously that ate down. Oh wow, 1,000,000 out of 10. Literally no notes. They literally never did, like, not a single time in their lives have they disappointed me with their music. I'm literally just a girl who loves music and loves artists and loves K-pop and TXT. Okay, so it is time for me to tackle my reading goals. At the beginning of every year, I set a New Year's goal to read X amount of books. And so last year my goal was to read 25 books and I ended up reading 30 books. And so that is why I set my goal this year to be 35 books. So I'm currently finishing up Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I think I have around 20% left. My goal is to read at least 2 more books in this video. I think after this book, I'm going to start fan fiction, which I mentioned that I had downloaded for my trip, but I never ended up starting it because I started Leather and Lark. Let's tackle Leather and Lark and finish that. Okay, what I will say about this book as compared to the first one in the series is that this one is a lot less gory, but I'm at like a pretty gory scene right now and I'm just like, ugh, like I kind of just have to like skim through it because if I read the details, I can't do it. Like, it's not fully for me. %, and something's about to happen, something crazy. Last 10% of the book. Let's see how this goes. I did not expect that. That is set up for the next book. Oh no, this literally within a chapter, like the whole issue was like resolved and put to rest. So I guess it's as easy as that. Okay, I just finished Leather and Lark, so here is my review. So my overall star rating for this book is gonna be 3.75 out of 5. These books are definitely not for everyone. I'm not someone who tends to read dark romance, but I feel like if I am going to read any dark romance books, it's going to be these. The romance itself is like not morally gray or toxic. I feel like in a lot of dark romances, you see the guy super toxic and he's like, there's a lot of questionable things that happen within the actual relationship, and I don't feel like that happens in these books. I feel like the relationships themselves, they don't want to hurt each other. That being said though, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend these books to anyone unless you are someone that likes dark romances, because issues that I had with this book. I think my main issue with this book was the overall pacing of the storyline. The romance itself had good pacing. Okay, hi, editing Lourdes here. I feel like I did not explain my thoughts properly in regards to what my issue was with the pacing. So my main issue was that the pacing leading up to the third act conflict did not make sense to me. I feel like the storyline did not come together enough leading up to the third act conflict for it to feel like it made sense. I feel like nothing actually starts happening until this 75% mark. And then after that, it felt a bit rushed to me. And then, like I said, as I was reading, it gets resolved within like not even a chapter or 2. It was just kind of anticlimactic because of how fast it happened and then how fast it was resolved. It was like, okay, you know, like what was the point of that? Like what was that all of that for. Now, what I did enjoy about this book was the two main characters. I loved Lark and Lachlan. I love a marriage of convenience storyline. I felt like it was really well done in this book. I also love a ray of sunshine and grumpy man trope. The romance aspect of the book was very satisfying, which is why I'm not like, okay, bad book, wouldn't read it. I loved seeing all of the characters from the first book. Overall, it was an entertaining read, and I didn't like it more than the first just because the first book, the storyline and everything felt like it had more purpose, whereas the storyline in this book just felt more of like a vessel for the romance. That being said, I did enjoy this book enough that I do want to finish the trilogy and will be finishing it. Okay, hi. So I actually only ended up reading the prologue for fan fiction because I ended up having to go shower and wash my hair, and I ate dinner, and now it's almost 8:30 and I've only read the prologue. I'm going to talk a little bit about my first impressions and kind of also give some context as to what the story is about while unboxing this little pen and highlighter set I just got. But yeah, it's pretty much, she reads these books about this group of vampires, and it turns out that they're real, and she comes across one of them, I guess, and that is, I guess, how the story unfolds. I would assume she falls in love with one of them. I definitely want to try and read a good amount tonight. We'll see how far I get. Honestly, since I'm already at my desk, I'm just gonna sit and read here for a bit. I just got to chapter 4. The premise is super fun so far. I'm really liking it. I think the idea of having all of these characters that are actually real life people and like all of the stories that you're reading in the book are real is super fun. So it seems that all of these vampires were banished to an isle that's like almost identical to Manhattan. It's almost impossible for them to escape, but one of them managed to. And so she found Tess, the main character, so that she can help her figure things out. I'm excited to see how this plays out because I honestly don't know. It's literally the rainiest day ever. It's definitely the perfect day to spend wrapped up in bed reading, so I will definitely be taking advantage. I got through a decent chunk of the book in like an hour and a half last night. Like, I think I'm almost halfway, so I think I'm definitely gonna be able to finish the book today, which I want to because I'm hooked. It's so good. I love it. Are you comfortable? Time for my review of fan fiction. I finished it last night. So overall rating for this, a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, especially as someone who's a fangirl. It was such a cool and unique take. Who wouldn't love to be thrown into the fictional world that they're a fan of? I really loved the mix between the real world and the fantasy world, and I felt like it was a pretty modern fantasy book without having really any cringe elements that you see when a book is trying to feel modern. I really loved Tess as a protagonist. There was definitely some heavier topics that this book touches upon, but I felt like it was approached with really good sensitivity. This book does have topics of essay. It's something that Tess, the main character, has been through, so something to keep in mind if you're considering reading it. Some trigger warnings. I feel like those topics were worked really well into the book while allowing Tess to be more than what happened to her, and also the story allowed her to go on a journey that allowed her to come back to herself. I honestly just expected this book to have one couple, but I loved that there were two main couples. I especially loved Tess and Callum's relationship. Callum is just like the perfect book boyfriend. Like when I say perfect book boyfriend, like literally not a single flaw. Also, I loved Tess and Joni's like fangirl friendship. It was so fun to see as someone who's made friends in similar ways. It was so well written and I loved seeing their whole friendship journey. I feel like the pacing of the story was also really good. It didn't feel like it moved too fast or too slow. I feel like overall this was just like such a fun fantasy read and very unique too. For this book, I decided to like take little notes of my thoughts while reading and I thought it would be fun to share that. After Felix and Tessa's first meeting, I wrote, and this is for my ACOTAR girls, if you know, you know, I wrote, girl, I know a Tamlin when I see one. I'm not gonna confirm if I was right or wrong, but when you see a Tamlin, you know a Tamlin. That's all I'm gonna say. And the final book that I'm gonna be reading in this video is gonna be Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Besides Emily Henry's most recent book, the other two books of hers that I haven't read are Book Lovers and Funny Story. I'm really excited. I love Emily Henry, and honestly, I'm glad I've paced myself while reading her books because then I'm like, oh, I have an Emily Henry book to read and it's not like I've read them all. I am about halfway through Book Lovers right now, and oh my god, I didn't expect this, but I think this is gonna be my favorite Emily Henry read. Reading this, I realized that I love these types of plots, not just the fact that it's enemies to lovers, because enemies to lovers is always perfect and it is just like the superior romance trope, but I also love the trope of like a professional or a really busy student that has way too much on their plate and then this guy comes in, and usually it's also like a very put together guy and he kind of like throws her world off balance, and then when it's enemies to lovers on top of that, like that is, the tension is so good. Also so frustrating to read, but in the perfect way. I really want to see how this plays out. I really like these characters. I'm really loving this book. I finished Book Lovers last night at like 2 in the morning. I didn't go into this book expecting it to be my favorite Emily Henry read, and it was by far like 5 out of 5 stars without a doubt in my mind, and I can definitely see myself wanting to reread it in the future, which that's how you know that I truly loved a book. This was enemies to lovers in the most perfect way. There just wasn't any of that annoying miscommunication. Like the relationship moved at a good pace, the storyline was so good with Nora's sister Libby and all of the stuff that she has going on there. I just really loved how there was a balance between the romance and also the family storyline. I also loved the irony in the book, since they both work in literature, him as an editor and her as an agent, and she keeps talking about like all of these stereotypes in books and oh, that doesn't happen and this and that, and this book kind of took some of these stereotypical tropes in books and turned them on its head. And it's also like, even though the book is kind of making fun of some of these really stereotypical romance tropes, she still gets like the stereotypical happy ending, and I really loved that. I just love Emily Henry, and honestly I'm like, how is any one of her other books gonna top this one? But then like I always say that to myself, but truly for this one, like I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video here. I did vlog here and there throughout this video, but I felt like it was a lot more like sit down, chit chatty reviews. I hope you enjoyed it. I love reading, so I love being able to like sit down and talk about books. I love trying new things, so I decided to give this type of video a try. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.